We're in the middle of another heat wave. Second big heat wave this year. Or is it the third? Can't remember. We're having a really hot year. But look at how amazing this corn looks. Just a month ago this was only a foot high in this bed. And now tassels have been out for a couple of weeks. The silks are out on the corn cobs. This one's already starting to turn brown. But the corn itself, nowhere near ready yet. Another couple of weeks. I've got fruit setting here on this squash. It's gone absolutely mad, the squash. But, not sure if that will set these ones down here, but if I look round here, that one's growing nicely. I think this must be Crown Prince, but this plant goes all the way along, almost to the end of the fruit corner, all the way down there, back to the end of that bed. Absolutely gigantic. There's the competition onions. The order of 66 and big Tribal Chief's Big O. I think I'm winning. That's my nephew's one. That's my one. Probably harvest them in the next couple of weeks. See who weighs the most. Got courgettes here. This is a Black Beauty courgette. I planted this later to try and get a succession of courgettes. The other two courgettes in the arch. I've been harvesting a lot from there. I can show you here, look, there's some ready there to pick, getting quite big. They're Romanesco. And this mini bed did have peas in. We've enjoyed the Oregon sugar pod peas, and now it's got some multi-sown leeks. I'm trying that for the first time, and some spare beetroot plants. The other courgette plant under the arch is this is Bianca di Trieste, and that one's too big there. I need to pick that. There's another one there, look, massive. Under the arch, because it's a bit shaded, I've put lettuces. So I've got lettuce growing there. Lettuce here too, but looks like the mole's been there. See that hole? And it's a bit too shady here. I need to probably chop some of these courgette leaves off. And then under the arch here, look, this is Greek Gigantes beans. Gone all the way to the top. I've pinched out the top off some of them. The French beans on the other side, not doing quite, seem to be growing a lot slower, but they'll get there, I guess. Here's a Cobra French beans. Ones in the bean frame are a lot higher. Look, squash plants, crazy. Lavender, looking magnificent. Lots of bees getting the pollen, nectar. Let's have a look at some of the other beds. A bit of bad news in the onion bed. You can see that. These Bedfordshire Champion onions, a lot of them going to seed. So I've pushed them over, thinking of harvesting them, lifting them out in the next, maybe tomorrow, and hopefully there's quite a few that haven't bolted, but the other half of the bed is the brune shallots, and they look all fine. They've been falling over by themselves, and they look ready. The size of the onions is really good, really, but not good for storing onions when they're bolting. But with the zebrune, Like even I've sown these multi-sown, so you can freeze, and they're big, bigger than I was thinking they would be. I was thinking, you know, the ones you get at the supermarket, more like that one there. There's a clump of 4 there. So I think next year I'm going to do them all. Try and do them all in 3s and 4s, at least 3s. But the zeroon should be a good harvest there. I was just going to add, I really need to get these out because I've got purple sprouting broccoli that are getting pot bound, need to go in, and I've had pest issues with them, which is a bit of a pain. Got cabbage stem weevil, I think, on, and I keep popping up on the leaves. I've got to keep picking them off, but I've not timed it very well. I need to next year sow my purple sprouting broccoli and Brussels sprouts and Kalettes a bit later. In this bed number 1, I was going to put Brussels sprouts in here, and I'd actually planted them out, but we had this cabbage stem weevil issue and they just looked terrible, so I just pulled them out. So I've only got 1 Brussels sprout plant left now, and instead I decided to just put leeks in this bed. The beetroot were already in around the Brussels sprouts. I thought I'd interplant them, but ideally I'd have preferred a full bed of leeks, but that's what happens, isn't it? Circumstances change. A few spring onions there, down there too. I will need to net these leeks up eventually. Just need to check when the second life cycle of the allium leaf miner is. This mesh, I just left this off. This is on temporarily to stop pigeons eating the beetroot leaves. But the leeks will need a finer net. I'm still watering the potatoes. They don't look like they're sort of getting to the end of their life. But there's different varieties there. Some main crops which still look okay. They're at the back there. The pink fir apple. I did have a check some of this. If I can find it. It was this one. Look, you can see that. These are Cara. So that's quite big, not quite jacket potato size, but I reckon there'll be some decent sized ones in there. There was last year. Just in front here I had a spare cucumber plant, so I've set it up so it can grow on the top of this mesh box. That's a Diva cucumber. I've got a few Diva at home that are much more advanced than that. But hopefully that will mean we get cucumbers into sort of September, if the weather's okay. And then down the front, this is where the 3 burlesque blight resistant plants are, and they look pretty good. These were meant to be plants. I sowed these later, thinking I'd harvest later in August, up to the end of August, but it's just been so hot. I think they've just basically caught up with the plants that I've got at home. And that's big. Look, might be ripe in the next couple of weeks. Got spare beetroot down there, and all around here spring onions, and at the back more spring onions. Anyway, it shouldn't be long before I can taste these burlesque tomatoes. Hopefully they're as good as I've heard people talk about them. It always surprised me how quiet it can be on the allotments. No one around really. It's not too hot now. It's about 7 p.m, so things have cooled down a bit. You'd think everyone would be here watering, but not the case. Here in bed, bed number 2 under the hoop tunnel. If you can see that, it's hard to see it. Good sized cauliflower there, and another one there, and another one at the back there. So I'm probably going to harvest that one today. The kales at the back are pretty big, but they've seemed to be, I don't know if that's leaf burn or probably due to the heat. Little kohlrabi there, not enough light for it down there, but that's okay because I've already harvested some kohlrabi and they were massive. And just next to this bed, I've put temporarily these beans here. I'm going to put them somewhere else just when they've started climbing the canes. These are just spare sunshine yellow French beans. And here I've got cucumber plant that I need to tie in. This is a Diva again. Looks pretty good. And then a sunflower, not sure of the variety. That's my nephew sowed those seeds. And then that is red profusion tomatoes there, ripening. In this bed, there's half a bed of onions. Those onions look a lot better than the other onions, the other Bedfordshire champion onions. I think it's because I planted them out later. We had a overnight frost for 2 days in early May, which I didn't expect. And that caused the other ones to bolt. But those ones, as far as I can see, look okay. So I'm just going to leave those for now. And I've got beetroot. I did have some guylan. I think there's still some guylan. We harvested a little bit, but they're very small. I think it's too hot for that. That'll be better to grow in autumn. And then lettuce there that's going to seed. I'm thinking might just leave it. Unfortunately, I've not got that many lettuce. It's just been too hot, and my sort of succession sowing, a lot of them have been small, so we've kind of run out. I've got a lot of seedlings I'm planting. I've got plenty at home, but there's going to be a gap, so I'm going to have to buy a few lettuce. My bed's okay. And the carrot box got amazing growth. Sweet candle on this side, and then Eskimo, both winter carrots. Should get pretty big. Eskimo are a slower growing carrot, and you can tell that in here. They're a good bit smaller than the sweet candle. But I've been watering this box quite a bit actually. A lot of people say, you know, leave carrots to grow down and water, but I think you need to water them. If you want big carrots, you need to water, especially when it's this hot, when we're having a lot of 30 degrees plus days. I'll keep things watered. The tomato plant here, one ripening, almost ripe. I think this is Garnet. I've not tried this one yet, so I'll probably pick that on tomorrow and test it, see if it's nice. Just behind there, I grow way too many leeks, so I've still got loads at home. I'll put a few at home in pots when there's some space. But so just a little bunch of multi-sown leeks in a container. You start getting containers spares them harvesting potatoes, the early potatoes. So they're useful to have to plant spare stuff. And the bean frame, slowly almost reaching the top. In the next few days that one will reach the top. But they look really healthy, these plants now. I'm happy with them. Yeah. You can see here, there's different colours here. I'm wondering, maybe that's a sunshine, produces yellow beans, and the other one's a cobra, which produces green French beans. I don't think I got as many sunshine in here as I wanted. I wanted mostly cobra, because they're nicer, I think, tasting. But I like the yellow ones for a bit of different colour. I think there might only be one or two in here, it doesn't matter, because I've got those other spare ones. Another tomato plant here, which is not doing very well. I think this is sungold, but we'll still get a few. But this is because this is terrible algae compost. So if I ever buy that again, I'll only use it for like mulching beds. It's not good, rock hard. Even though I've been watering it, or at least every other day. Parsley there. I've had big problems with parsley this year and I'm quite annoyed about it. There's a lot of aphids on there and ants, and they think they're preventing growth. I've got a whole big container down next to the shed. It's just not grown. In this year mini corner bed, right in the corner of the plot, lettuce that I want to save seed for have bolted. That's quite exciting. I've just got to, they're almost reaching the top of the netting. I've got to keep this netting on this bed because I don't want any moths or other things laying eggs on the lettuce. But I've tried to save seeds from this variety before. This is Navara, and all the seed pods just got eaten, so I've got to keep it covered. But I will have to raise up, put some canes in just to raise the netting a bit. A few spring onions that I probably need to take out there. There's one there down the bottom, lettuce, that's not growing very well, not bolted properly, but might still produce a few seeds. But I don't mind as long as if I can get a couple of 100 seeds and do the same next year, maybe, if I have to, I'll be happy. And the garlic bed here, the garlic still looks healthy, no sign of rust. But this was spring sown garlic. A lot of people will have harvested their garlic by now, but because I sowed or planted them in spring, there's still a few weeks. I decided just to do it in spring because the previous couple of years I've been growing garlic, 2 or 3 years. The bulbs have been really small, so I thought I'd just give it a go and see what happens in spring. Elephant garlic at the back there definitely needs to come out. I'm not expecting big bulbs there because the stems don't really look that much bigger than the garlic. I'll see when I pull them out. I probably should have pulled them out. They were sown at the same time in spring, so I was expecting them just to be like the garlic and pull them out in August. But it's good that the garlic got no rust. I think rust comes about due to cold, damp conditions. So planting in spring, you can avoid that a bit. It'll be interesting to see how that looks when I dig it up. Rhubarb there, it looks surprisingly healthy. I have been watering it in this in the heat wave. I was just going to leave that and not take any more, but probably could take some more. In the fruit corner right next to it, I've got 2 blackcurrant bushes which we've harvested from now and made some jam. Didn't get as many as last year. The fruit was all drying on the plant even before it fully ripened, so I think the heat was a bit too much for it. So maybe that's why we didn't get as much, or maybe I need to prune some of the old wood, but it's quite a new plant. I only planted them a year last November, I think, so the gooseberry plant got hardly any fruit on it. Only got like 10 fruit, So I just stuck in with the jam. Not sure why, because the plant looks really healthy. Anyway, I've got to remember to water these plants, because last year we had a gooseberry plant, and it's 2 gooseberry plants, and one of them died. After I'd harvested them, I just neglected them. I didn't bother watering them. That was probably the mistake. I've got carrots here, and they've gone to flower. I've bolted some of them in there. Need to harvest them. Can't remember if I showed these already. These are obviously Uchiki Kuri squash. They're growing there. So it looks like, hopefully, another one there, look. Not sure, I think that might be Crown Prince, because there's 2 stems running there. Hopefully, I think it's going to be a good year for squash. I think I might chuck a load of water down on this path that's been covered, just so there's water under the path, because this bed is drying out really, really fast. That's quite exciting about the squash. I've had some people get up to 10 squash off a single plant for Uchiki Kuri. I've only ever got 2. So it'll be interesting to see if it's a good year, as I think it might be. I've just harvested one of the containers of carrots. These are red core chantenay. I'm quite happy with that. It's not loads, but it's only a small container, so you can't fit that many in. But it's okay. They look a bit top heavy, but maybe I put too much nitrogen in this. I had too much nitrogen, so I have to adjust that. There's no sign of any carrot root fibre issues. Quite clean. Only a couple of ones that look like they've gone to seed. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And a nice small but okay cauliflower. I think I'll have that for dinner. It's got some unusual colour on the top. I think that's just because of the sun getting it. Last year they were really nice and white, but I think because they've had so much sun and heat, it's probably getting to it. Yeah, but that's okay. And the courgettes. Almost forgot those. Not a good idea to forget courgettes. Bianca di Trieste and Romanesco. Both really nice tasting varieties. There's a nice breeze on the plot now. I've just been doing some watering. I think people massively underestimate how much you need to water to get plants growing really well. You need gallons and gallons of water on every bed. I'm really happy with how most of the things are. Courgettes and corn and beans. Same about the onions bolting, but there's always something every year. 1 or 2 or 3 things that don't work. But generally really happy. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.